So it's not about inserting new creative solutions. It's about completely transforming healthcare, and particularly how we buy healthcare. Therein lies the solution. It's not about, oh, I found this really cool vendor that does this really cool thing, and we'll insert that and it'll all get better. How many employers across the country have done that over the years? And yeah, they've seen small improvements here and there, but they haven't really completely transformed healthcare. And we don't have to reinvent it. We've got the models to follow. NUCA proved that alignment, choice, and relationship is the key. And we just simply say, employers, it's how you spend your money. And obviously, everyone's resigning right now. We want to retain our best employees. We're buying a bad product, second largest cost of doing business. It's an impersonal, dysfunctional, deficit-based healthcare system we're buying. And in my opinion, it's the biggest fumble that CEOs make. And we simply help them pick up that fumble. So aspirational healthcare is the proven solution. It's been proven now over decades. And the best example of this aspirational model is the NUCA system of care in Alaska. And it's amazing how they're willing to share everything they've learned. They're like, we don't care. We'll share it all with you. And yet, when you ask them who comes to their conferences to learn about this massively wonderful program, Singapore and Sweden and UK and Canada and Finland, does anybody ever come from the United States? No, not very often. And you're like, this is a problem. We need to share what you created with the world so people know there's something better. So it's healthcare focused on the customer. And do you know the story behind NUCA, of how 20 years ago, the federal government said, if you want to do your own healthcare, you can? Really simply put, it's like, we can't make this any worse. Our population is the worst health population in the world. We have a terrible healthcare system through the Federal Indian Healthcare Services system. We're being offered the opportunity to take it on ourselves. We can't make this any worse. So they said, let's do this. And they did something nobody else has ever done in healthcare. They went out to their customers, and for 6 months, they researched, what does the customer want from healthcare? And what they heard was, we don't want a paternalistic system that tells us what to do. We want a system that journeys with us through life to help us live life to its fullest. Mm-hmm. And they went to their medical staff, who they inherited from the Federal Indian Healthcare System, and they said, we're going to build a system like that. And the doctor said, we don't know how to do that. We were trained in the U.S. medical system how to diagnose and treat. Mm-hmm. And the CEO of the South Central Foundation had the tenacity to say, then take a hike. Because this is what we're going to build. Mm-hmm. And they let them go, and they completely started from the ground up. And 20 years later, best healthcare system in the world. Here's some of the results. 97% patient satisfaction. They call their patients customer owners. 95% employee satisfaction. 2-time Malcolm Baldrige Award that no other healthcare system has ever done. And they've moved their entire population from the low 5% of all HEDIS scores to now they're in the top 75 to 90% in almost every HEDIS score across the board. And they do it for half the price. If that's not inspiring, I don't know what is. And they simply said, we're going to build healthcare around the customer. What does that mean? It means that if you or I to ask ourselves, how much of our current health status was done to us by the healthcare system? And how much of our current health status is based on what we do to ourselves? You and I would both say, well, most of it's what we do to ourselves. And they simply said, then why don't we build a healthcare system that focuses the efforts of the system on the needs of the customer? And we actually spend a lot of time helping people live life to its fullest and live healthy. And so they built this architectural design where they said, we're going to create a very massively powerful primary care system where a doctor, a nurse, a medical assistant, and a scheduler will be assigned a small number of members, and their primary job is to influence those members through relationships and trusting storytelling to live life to its fullest. That is our primary role. Secondary to that is if they need something, like they break their leg, we'll fix it. Or if they need something complex, we'll be the center of how they reach all healthcare through this relationship-based healthcare. That's what they did. And now, 20 years later, best healthcare system in the world. So if employers want to offer an aspirational healthcare system for their employees, then they simply do 3 things. They create alignment, they create choice, and they create relationships. And this is how they do it. They identify what their business objectives are, and they align both their internal team and their external team to reach it. They take their money, and instead of putting all their eggs in one basket, they allocate their money to get an aspirational healthcare benefit instead of the deficit-based system they're currently putting all their eggs into. Number 3, they invest in having every single member have 3 trusted partners through which all healthcare can go through. It's about helping companies across the country create an aspirational benefit for their employees. So what do most employers want? We talked about this before. They want to attract and maintain top talent. They want a healthy, productive workforce. They want employee satisfaction. They want affordable healthcare. So make sure that your internal team, your HR director, your benefit managers, whoever internally is aligned to help you establish processes to monitor that, and that they're aligned to actually help you reach that. And that your external team is aligned to do the same. If you've got a broker, if you've got a benefit consultant, make sure they are being paid by you and that their incentives are based on you reaching your objectives. Mm-hmm. We actually offer up, and can be very valuable to your model, the monitors that are simply input or put in place by employers to actually monitor those things. And we offer those free of charge. And we say to our group of aspirational care advisors, we will give you the technology to monitor those critical important things and be able to monitor those on a regular basis so you can constantly make improvement to reach those. Now, the second thing is choice. So how you improve healthcare is simply stop putting all your money into a traditional health plan. Yes, you want a plan. You want a medical plan. You want money to go in there because that's going to help you take care of those catastrophic things, but you don't want people to access primary care through that medical plan. Yep. What you want is to have a subscription-based primary care like DPC, direct primary care, where the doctor is independent of the medical system and is not acting as a funnel source to send everybody into the medical system, but they're independent and their job is aligned with you, the employer, and aligned with the patient, the employee, to keep you healthy. So put money into a defined contribution that your employees can use for that. You can't force them into that, but you can say, look, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to put some of it into a defined contribution for a medical plan. I'm going to put money into a defined contribution for a family doctor, a subscription-based primary care. If you don't want to use that money to have a relationship with a primary care physician, you don't get the money. It's as simple as that. If you want to get all your primary care through this first bucket, through your medical plan, great. I can't force you, but I'm going to give you money for a different kind of primary care. And I'm going to incent you to use it by simply saying, you get the money. I'll pay for you to have a DPC. The third thing is, I'm not going to just pay for you to have a coach who can help you live life to its fullest, because if I do, I know that most of you won't take advantage of it. So I'm actually going to give you an incentive. I'm going to pay you, the employee, money to have an engaged, meaningful relationship with a coach. Now, if you don't want that money and you don't want the relationship, I can't force you into having it, but it's worth it to me to incent you to have it, because I know that that is the foundation of really long-term cost savings, is to help you live life to its fullest. And the coach is not there to tell you what to do. The coach is there to help you get out of your ruts, to win the battles you're experiencing internally, to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish, regardless of what area of well-being that is. The coach is there to be a third-party accountability partner to help you win your battles and reach your goals. And the fourth bucket is medical cash. I want you to have money because I want you to be a consumer of the healthcare system, where you're actually spending my money, but it's your money to spend, so that you make good choices. And it can go towards qualified medical expenses. And the new IBRA and the new ICRA have expanded the opportunities for this medical cash pocket like never before. So within medical plan, we often think that, well, you just have to have a traditional insurance plan. And that's not the case. There are so many other alternatives. You can create self-funded plans that are innovative, that can spend so much less by really doing all these things. And then there's things like alternatives, like sharing programs. So how is it that sharing programs can do it for half the price? But traditional, it's like, it's crazy that we stay within this little model of just traditional insurance. Well, if you look at national cost of healthcare across the country, it's $1,800 for a family of an age of about 35. That's the average cost across the country. And in many cases, it's far more than that. Well, if you create your own self-funded innovative plan, you can get it at like around $1,000 for a family per month. And if you go out and identify really creative, already built insurance plans like Redirect Health, it's literally $1,000.99 across the entire country. Any family across the country can access this incredible, innovative solution that's a fully insured product for $1,099. And then if you want to get creative, there's a program called the Sierra Plan that takes advantage of the sovereign nation contracts at $718 per family per month. And then if you really want to get creative, take advantage of sharing programs like Sedera and Zion Health, where the whole family's paying $620 or $450 per person or per family per month. So it's like, don't stay over here in this area when there's so many other solutions out there. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to fix the whole healthcare system you can actually offer employers solutions where you're not even have to buy the healthcare system. You just access the system different, which is what these innovative solutions have done. So I could get into more detail, but I won't right now. We'll just simply say it's out there. And if you simply offer people the choice, you can almost immediately drop your costs from 20 to 50% by just giving people choice. And before we leave this slide, I will just share with you how simple it is to say to an employer or an employee, gosh, would you prefer to have a sharing program over traditional insurance? I'm on a sharing program. I'm on the Sedera sharing program. If I had $1 million case, if I had one of those catastrophic cases in my family or in my life that I had to pay $1 million of expenses for, if I were on a traditional insurance plan, my out-of-pocket max per year would be what, 10,000, 20,000, somewhere along those lines, correct? How many Americans have $10,000 to pay for a catastrophic event? Not very many, which is why 40% of all medical bankruptcies or personal bankruptcies are medical reasons, medical expenses. Mm-hmm. I'm on a sharing program called Sedera. If I had $1 million expense happen to me, I'm going to pay $500 one time. It doesn't start over every year, and that's all I ever spend. Now, that's pretty attractive when you look at what a sharing program can do versus what traditional insurance can do, just from the standpoint of my personal financial risk. Mm-hmm. Incredibly different. So I won't go into more detail, but a lot of employees, not everybody, would be a wonderful candidate. It would far more prefer to be on a less expensive sharing program than to be on an expensive insurance plan. Now, the other thing is that the other bucket is that family doctor bucket. And like I said before, there are all kinds of models. Mm-hmm. There's the traditional curbside DPC, where I go to the doctor's office. There's the virtual only model. And then there's models that are virtual and they come to your home. Amazon, who I think is going to be one of the biggest disruptors in this healthcare industry, that's what they do with Amazon Care. It's a virtual model that they come to your home. I'm on one called Nice. It's amazing. I could go into all kinds of cool details about what Nice does for me. And then there's virtual plus a worksite clinic where I can actually see the doctor at my worksite. So there's lots of models, and they too are all over the page in terms of the cost. Oops. So it's almost like if I were to serve up to my employees a defined contribution of $50 and say to them, you choose what works best for you. If you want Nice, pocket the $14 in your pocket. They'll come to your home. If you want Amaze, pocket the $15, and it's virtual only. If you want to go with AcosMD, it's $100. You pay the difference. If you want to go to SteadyMD at $110, you pay the difference. But you let your employees choose what model works best for them. So there's some really cool models out there. Oh. And then, of course, we've already talked about the coach incentive to have somebody, and that's what we do as Orion, is we provide the coaching. But we don't tell our advisors you have to use us. The model is to have someone working with a coach. Mm-hmm. That's the key to live life to its fullest. And then the medical cash is again, traditionally we've used HSAs and HRAs, but the new IBRA and the new ICRA have completely opened up. In the last year and a half, or 2 years now, we've got a completely new scenario that employers can work within to where they can be far more creative than ever before. We won't go into all the detail right now, but the third thing is having a relationship. So there's alignment, there's choice, and there's relationships. So just like in Nuka's case, they had everybody have a relationship with a doctor, a nurse, or a medical assistant, and a scheduler, who were all trained to be coaches And that's really their primary role, was to be the coach. In our case, we say we need everyone needs a relationship with 3 people: a benefit partner, an expert that can help you navigate the complexities of insurance, who literally can be there to help you answer questions about copays, deductibles, whether it's covered, whether it's not, out of network, all that stuff. A relationship with somebody that you know and trust that can independently help you navigate the system. The third thing is a medical partner, an independent medical partner that's not going to be a funnel for the healthcare system. And that medical partner, which is your DPC or your VPC, becomes that relationship-based healthcare that helps you navigate and helps you access all of healthcare, whether it's specialty or primary care, and stays involved to be the core of that. And the third thing is that coach partner, someone who, again, can help you live life to its fullest. It's about building relationship-based healthcare. Now, I won't go into all the details of Amaze, but there's this company out of Colorado, it's an amazing benefit expert platform. When you talk about technology, this is pretty cool technology. It literally can be one platform, one partner, and one name to trust for everything. And I can introduce you to Dave Silverstein, who's the CEO of that, but we're introducing Amaze as the benefit expert, which also can play the role of the virtual primary care. It's like he's built it all into one solution and be both the benefit partner and the independent medical partner for people. So they really only have to have 2 people, a coach partner and Amaze. So pretty cool solution with pretty cool technology. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring the entire ecosystem of advisors, so those benefit consultants, the administrators. So as you can probably imagine, if you were to say to an employer, just do all this, there's a lot of different people. So we've got third-party administrators that we're working with that do all that hard work. So all the employer has to do is say, pay one check, and the TPA will distribute all the money according to what people selected, to make it very, very simple. The third thing is education. You can't move entire populations into a brand new, better healthcare system without the proper orientation and personal education to help them navigate through this. You can't just say, hey, we're offering you the best healthcare system in the world. It's been proven in Alaska to be the best. You're going to love it. Just do it. You can't do that. It's got to be an education process where you help each person in their own circumstances and situation understand that. And then the third thing is bringing the partners, the providers, the system, the trusted partner, the coaching, the doctors, bringing all that to the ecosystem so that employers can make that choice. And then what we've done is we've outlined these 10 simple steps any employer can implement to create this aspirational model. So first, you simply decide what are your business objectives. Then you build the plan that's going to monitor those objectives, and you're going to incent both your internal team to help you meet those, as well as your external team to help you meet those. And then you're going to survey your workforce to get a baseline on how well they currently think your current offering is meeting their needs, whether it's actually working to retain them, whether it played a role in attracting them. And we actually offer up that survey to employers free of charge so they can send it out to all their employees and get that baseline. So we aggregate the results for the employer, and the employer can see the results. And we don't ask the employees whose name, but it's just here's what here's your baseline. But in that survey, we're asking them an incredibly important question. And that is, who do you feel like within your organization has your back? Maybe it's the secretary of the purchasing department. Maybe it's the HR director. Maybe it's the CEO. But you tell us the 3 or 4 names of people that you feel like you can trust. Because that's going to be a critical group of people to help roll out this new strategy to the workforce. And it could be by location. So the next thing is to decide how much are you going to invest in each bucket, and whether you're going to invest the same amount or you're going to break it up so that there's going to be some investments for those who choose sharing programs. There's going to be a different investment for those who choose insurance. There could be different contribution based on how long people have worked there to create a strategy to get people to stay there longer. It could be based on their age. It could be based on whether they were single or family. So the amount you put in each of the buckets could vary based on what works best for your company. What you then do is after you make an initial decision, you bring in that small group of trusted employees that people feel like have your back, and you let them understand the whole picture of what this aspirational healthcare looks like. And they then can play a role in helping you tweak those numbers.
Yep.
Yes. And then they play a key role in rolling this out to all of your employees. So whether you do virtual meetings or on-site meetings, that key group of trusted, like we call them, the people who hold the trust capital within the company, are the ones who roll this out. And then you allow each person to meet with a benefit expert to help them make those choices and actually begin that relationship right at the point of making choices, where they can help them navigate what are the pros and cons of different things for what makes sense for you, and help them understand maybe a sharing program is better for you. I've never heard of it before, so what is it? What are my risks? What are my non-risks, and so forth? And then that relationship with the benefit partner is a catalyst to making sure that everybody not only has a one-on-one with the benefit expert, but they have a one-on-one with whoever their primary care physician is going to be. If they chose DPC or virtual DPC, they meet with those people, so they start to build that relationship as well as their coach. So the whole design is to build those relationships that will now be the access for everyone to access healthcare. So again, the goal is not to build a new healthcare system. The goal is not to create a new healthcare plan. The goal is to attract and maintain top talent, to create a healthy workforce, to create a better product, to create employee satisfaction, and to create affordable healthcare. That's the goal. And everything should be focused on reaching those goals. And again, it's the biggest fumble that business leaders make. And we're simply there through aspirational healthcare to show them that they can just spend their money differently and get what they want.